G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we're doing a quick review of the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference 2020 that just happened in San Francisco, or I guess virtually, for the very first time yesterday, my time. And it was maybe a little bit of a disappointment for those hardware fan people out there that were expecting announcements of new hardware. Unfortunately for them, and fortunately for all of us, it turned out to be primarily an OS update for all the major platforms that Apple has going at this point in time. So everything from the iOS all the way to Mac OS, which is pretty exciting. So let's have a quick review of what was announced during this particular conference. Now, first off the ranks, Apple announced the new iOS. So we're looking at number 14 now, which is something that is been happening from year to year now, adding new features. But the first one off the ranks has to be this app library, which is, I guess, welcome, especially for those people that are app collectors and just keep on getting these numerous amounts of apps. There's a new way now to collate them into different pages, and then the ability to hide those pages in case for whatever reason you don't want to uninstall those apps. Now you have a way to manage the apps on your desktop. So if you get bored during one weekend, you haven't got much to do, well, now you can customize the way that your apps are being stored on your device. Then the next big announcement within the iOS upgrade is going to be widgets. Now this takes me all the way back to Windows 98 when we started getting some widgets. And by the way, some of those widgets look like the original ones from back in those days, although in a different operating system, in a different time and place. But now we have the ability to have those widgets not only in that dashboard, but then pull them out into the desktop and intermingle, I guess, with your app icon sitting on your desktop. So you have the ability to show everything from weather to featured photos to different time zones, which is quite awesome. Obviously, it's something that other OS have at the moment, but it's good that Apple is bringing that to light to make it a standard sort of usability across the board. I'm a big fan of widgets on a desktop as well as on iOSs. I really love that feature, so looking forward to actually seeing more of that and new widgets that can be more helpful for your day-to-day use of your iDevice. One thing that I have to mention too, the actual widget feature allows for this dynamic changing during the day. So if, for example, what you're interested more in the morning is traffic or weather, you'd have that. But then as the time goes on, it will be learning, almost like managing your day for you. And then from those early morning information, then it'll go to things like your calendar to help you with meetings and time management. And sort of it's got this feel of it doing some of the work for you in the background. So another new feature is the picture-in-picture, which allows you to watch videos while you have other applications running. So practically a little picture, just like you used to on your TV, floating above the other image, and you can move it around all over the place to suit whatever it is that you've got running in the background. But the sound will continue playing, so you'll be able to multitask, watch your Netflix or your videos while you do your emails. I don't know how that's going to work, but it is a good feature, especially if you want to check on something and not sort of stop watching whatever it is that you're watching, like my Technoramus videos, of course. Siri's actually got a lot smarter. She can now answer 20 times more questions, silly questions that you may ask during the day. Hopefully the comebacks are also there. That's the bit about Siri that I love, when you ask a silly question and you get a silly answer. That's pretty funny, it breaks up the day. But you will also find that Siri doesn't take up the complete desktop. So when you ask Siri something, it doesn't pop up and sort of take over your whole screen. There'll be like a floating Siri icon that will allow you to ask the question, and it'll give you a pop-up with the answer. Catching up to other OSs now, we have a great inbuilt functionality to translate. So we've seen in other OSs and other applications. But now natively, you will be able to launch an application, speak your language, and depending on the language that you choose, it will translate it to the listener. And when the listener responds, you will get the translation back into English or whatever language you speak. I have looked at the list, but I cannot see Australian on the list. I think it's very important that Apple address that issue very, very soon. One of the updates that I'm really excited about is the update to the messaging app. Now, I am constantly frustrated about the variety of communication that people have out there. You have WhatsApp and Messenger and the list goes on and on. I love the Messenger app because it is the closest thing to texting, but now with all the added, I guess, multifunctional or MMS functionality in the messaging app, it allows you to send more content. Your emojis or Wemojis, whatever you want to call them, are a lot more smarter with more variety. But the bit that I love is the functionality to be able to group chats and to be able to manage separately each chain of the messaging that's happening. To give you an example, I sent a message to my family, asked them what's for dinner, and instead of getting one collated message with the responses, I get separate messages depending on what device they're using. Now I'm going to be able to manage that to the nth degree, which I'm pretty happy about. Maps is getting a large overhaul as well, obviously trying to compete with Google Maps, bringing in more content into the actual map ecosystem so you can find things like restaurants, events, and things like that while you're in the map. So it's going to be good to see whether it defeats Google Maps in the end. But what I'm trying to get, I guess, to the end of it is to tell me whether I'm in the right place or not, whether I need these additional information or not. We'll see. And last but not least, the ability to open your car with your phone. So we've done the pay pass, we've done the ID and all this sort of stuff. Now, BMW has partnered with Apple to allow you using your phone or with this particular iOS to unlock your vehicle. I don't know. Look, it's a brave new world out there. If I had a BMW, would I let a wireless device unlock my vehicle? I don't know about that just yet, but we'll have to wait and see. iOS for the iPad is also getting a good upgrade with the new file management format, which will allow you to drag and drop files into different folders using this new sidebar. It is something that's really welcomed as we get closer to the iPad being a laptop replacement. Hopefully one day we'll get to a point where the file management system will be as powerful as what you find on any other operating system. And last but not least, there's Scribble, the ability to write in any text area, and that text or that handwritten text will be turned into typed text, which is quite awesome. That is something that, once again, can be done on apps, on third-party apps, but bringing it natively into iOS makes life a lot easier. Not as exciting as Watch OS 7, especially if you don't own an iWatch, but some really good updates have come onto this particular little device that will allow you to have better faces with more complications. There's updates to the exercise modes on the device itself, so it takes into consideration other activities into your day-to-day workout routines. But then, as well as that, we have sleep mode or sleep tracking, which will probably tell you what you already know, that you slept really bad the night before. Obviously, you may have to find a different time of the day to charge your phone, your watch, because obviously if you're wearing it while you're sleeping, it's not going to get charged like I'm used to doing with mine at this point in time. The feature that got me to roll my eyes was the hand washing app that as you're washing your hands, it does a countdown about how long you need to wash your hand for. Look, I don't know too many 5-year-olds that actually wear iWatches or can afford to wear iWatches as they wash their hands. But if you're an adult and you're not washing your hands properly, well, I don't know. I think you have bigger problems than a new Watch OS update. macOS gets another large upgrade to Big Sur, which continues a theme of regional coastal areas within California. And this particular update has a lot of file management or Finder updates with the sidebars. It also has Safari updates and a lot of security updates to make the whole experience a lot safer. As well, there are enhancements to messaging, just like we have seen in iOS, and of course, widgets are also on Mac OS, just like iOS. And I'm very excited because it just brings this retro feel to Mac OS. The big announcement that was saved right to the end was that Apple is moving their Mac chipsets away from Intel to their proprietary chipsets called Silicon. Now, they are going to transition their devices from the Intel chipset to their own proprietary one in the new versions of hardware. Now, they did mention that they will be supporting their applications for the Intel chipsets in years to come. How long that is, I don't know. Hopefully, they'll give us a good transition period so we don't have to all of a sudden upgrade to the new Macs just because the software support ends. But they have guaranteed long-term support for that. Now, applications that rely on the chipset, Windows for Mac and Adobe for Mac, now they will get a redesign, obviously, in order for to support the new chipsets. But there is going to be a lot of change management, especially with smaller developers that are going to have to transition practically their engineering from one chipset to another chipset. So that was it. That was my little quick review of WWDC 20 and everything that was sort of announced. I think I've dropped off a couple of little things that really didn't catch my attention. But that was it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And until the next time, ciao for now.